Hello everyone and welcome back to Agent Nagash, which channel dedicated to Sigmar, and in this video we're going to be talking about why play Deepkin. And to join us in this is my good gaming buddy of mine and a keen Deepkin player, that will be Jamie Banks. So how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing alright, thanks mate, and yourself?
Very well, thank you, very well. Enjoying the spring lockdown, it's fantastic. Right, okay, so the aim of this video is for people who are thinking about starting a Deepkin army, or maybe already started one, just want a little bit more let me get words right, some motivation behind it, and hopefully by the end of the video you'll sort of decide if it is an army for you or it isn't an army for you as we go through the strengths and weaknesses of this army. So firstly, with the Deepkin, Jamie, why don't we go through a little bit of their lore? So who exactly are the Deepkin? Like we say, this is going to be a summary video, so when I eventually do get around to doing a big Deepkin series, we'll dive into loads of stuff, but for now, just a bit of a summary of who the Deepkin are.
Yeah, kind of a summary of the Deepkin. They are the first elves taken out of Silanesh's belly after the end times, and Tetles tried to mould them into the first new kind of elves, and kind of failed at that kind of attempt. And in doing so, the Deepkin kind of went down to the depths of the sea to hide from, one, Tetles, and from the rest of the realms as well. In hindsight, they're kind of like, I wouldn't say like dark elves or fallen elves, but they are definitely not your typical good guy.
They're not your
elves.
Disney elves, are they? Singing and dancing around the rainbow forest. They are.
No.
And we'll go into a little bit more further, but you know, they do survive. They steal souls, and it's not like you can buy souls at your local supermarket. They have to be taken from someone else.
Yeah, so the good thing on their kind of background is they kind of seem like good guys, but in hindsight, the main thing that they're doing to survive is stealing souls from pretty much anyone they can, whether it be good guys or orcs, trees, Sylvaneth. You know, they really don't care as long as they get their souls.
They're not really fussy, are they? They, you know, like it will do. But that's, you know, obviously, like, because we say, like, you know, they're not your typical good guy elves, but they are fit into order. So how do they all work? With the Deepkin,
Yeah.
they do have a purpose to why they would take souls from someone else. It's not like they're doing it like a Khorne Bloodbound army, which is a case of not really taking souls, but just like taking skulls because, you know, why not? And, you know, just for their own personal gain. The Deepkin are doing it for a fight to survive rather than conquest.
Yeah, featuring their lore is the fact of, because of coming out of Slanesh after he ate all their souls, the newborns have a 1 in 100 chance of being pure, and the other 99 have withering souls, and they need the still living souls from other creatures to feed their society, basically.
Yeah, definitely. And like when we talk about the ones who come out, you know, pure and undeformed, it's really, so we've got kind of two sides to the Deepkin, haven't we? We've got the it's almost like a caste system where you have the thralls, who are the more basic souls, well, not the more basic souls, but the souls that were taken from Slanesh and have been remade in a more basic deformed form, which is like things like Namati Reavers, and then are the other ones just called thralls, are they?
Yeah, you got the Namati Reavers and you got the Namati Thralls that are your lesser class of the society of the Deepkin.
And a real evident way of seeing this is that they are actually blind, aren't they? If that's correct. They don't have eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's also down to the fact of, like, living down in the depths of the ocean as well. They tend to rely on more their magic and other senses. So a lot of their withering souls as well are born without eyes, which I must say helps a lot with the painting.
I was going to say, like, if you're someone out there who's always sort of kind of wanted to do an elf army, it's too much details and God, there's just too many eyes to paint, these guys are literally just right there for you. No eyes. That's That's one of the main reasons why I could paint over 100 skeletons, is because it was a beauty. And you can kind of do the same here. You just put a wash over it. It makes the eye socket area darker. You get the ideas. That's what eyes are meant to be, but there are no eyes. And you haven't done anything wrong. You shouldn't feel bad.
And it's a much quicker process than trying to paint eyes on, say, like, witch elves.
Oh, God. It's like, I saw... What is it? On eBay once for witch elves, I saw like a pro painting army, which was something like 5 times the amount of how much it would have cost the guy to bought from Games Workshop, but because he's painted up to a professional level, he wants 5 times the price, but he didn't even paint the eyes, and it's like, they're not a fucking Deepkin army, mate. You can't get away with that.
No, lucky enough with this army, you don't have to do that.
And what's quite, so if I'm looking at like the GW scheme here, which I know you can't see this, Jamie, but just looking on the website, I'm looking at some nomadic thralls, and obviously it depends on however you want to paint these guys for yourself, but they really do play a lot on dark and light blue for the armour. It's not like, oh my god, there's so much gold trim for every single edge of armour plating for these elves. It is like, you could probably do quite a bit with contrast, I imagine.
Oh, yeah, when starting a Deepkin army, obviously the main showcase is of a certain clan. And the good thing about the Deepkin, there is many clans to pick from, or enclaves as they were called in the Deepkin book. And there's so much variety in colour contrast, from dark colours to very bright colours in there, that there's definitely a variety of, hobby painting to do there.
Oh, 100%. And one of the things, like, what I noticed, and something what me and you have both seen, Jamie, it's like when we went to a Warhammer tournament, Throne of Skulls, I'm not going to say what year it was, I think it was 2019. I think it was last year, when we went to Throne of Skulls. It was quite an interesting story, because you had to sort of paint the majority of a 2,000 point army in one evening, which was quite interesting. But you got them to a tabletop level, and they looked fine. And but like, I don't mean this in any disrespect, but some of the other Deepkin armies that were there, that people have obviously painted for years, with all the coral on the bases, and I know you've done that now, but like back then when we saw those armies, I can't remember the names of the guys, but there was the guy who he won it for order, didn't he? He did the best in order with Deepkin. The guy looked like a Viking. Yeah,
got second place for the Deepkin army.
Yeah, second, and he was his army was all. I'm just trying to think which one it was, because there was a few up there that was nice, but there was one that was almost just on top of like shipwrecks and like coral and stuff, wasn't there? Was that one?
Oh yeah, one thing I've definitely found with Deepkin is you've got a very, if you want to explore it, obviously you can still go the normal basing kind of routes and, you know, all the standard kind of stuff. But one thing I found really interesting in Deepkin is that you get to explore a different kind of basin compared to any other army with the ocean theme, because no other army really has that. They're quite a unique army to be able to, like you say, with coral, bright colours. You got fish for the bases, you got shipwreck bits. A very unique design out of every army that is in Age of Sigmar.
Definitely, and they are an army that I would compare to the Cowden Overlords, in the sense of they are very. I haven't studied every single bit of fantasy lore in case there is an example out there where I am wrong, but they feel very original, like the Cowden Overlords. Like the closest thing I can compare Deepkin to are like Aquaman and Atlantis and stuff. They are, for elves, they do feel very unique. And going into what you were saying about you can do the normal basing, I suppose going back to a little bit of the lore, like basically they bring like the ether sea with them, don't they? That's how like all the sharks and stuff fly and all
that.
Yeah,
so it's not just they can fly just because they got little fins. The lore of them coming into the ocean is they bring a magical sea with them, the ether sea, which when you read about it as well, it sounds really horrible in the fact that if you're a normal person it feels like you're drowning without being in the ocean. So it's not just to help them breathe and fly, but it also does a lot to the people they're fighting against.
Oh yeah, it's like if you're fighting against these people, it's almost like when you're a child and you think, you know what, I'm going to put this plastic packaging that came with this box over my head, and then you realise you've made a terrible mistake, and then start suffocating. It's kind of it's interesting how they are portrayed, and you can see that sort of reflected into their rules. So we've sort of we sprinkled on the lore, and we talked about good things to sort of do with the army and sort of start collecting them. Like, so it's a lovely army to paint because you can really go creative. It has got really nice basing ideas. You know, you can kind of go wild with it. You know, like I've even seen, and there's a picture of one here, and this is in a Warhammer World cabinet. I can see, and it almost looks like maybe the one that we saw at Throne of Skulls, but we've got a Deepkin model coming out of its base that is basically an inch tall of looks to be resin water. So like the base is like, I don't know, an inch to 2 inches tall with a Leviathan coming out of water, because you can really go mad, or you can do it as simple as you would like with this army. And also another, before we go like into the rules and stuff, another good thing about the army is because they're within like the last 2 years, I'm going to say, you know, brand new models. They're not Warhammer Fantasy models, they are brand new Age of Sigmar models. There is, quickly thinking, obviously there isn't any cases of resin in this army, you know, no fine cast, anything like that. And the
no, it was a complete new army when it came out, all new sculpts, very pushing the designs of what you can do with sculpts. And I remember we were travelling up to Warhammer World for, I think maybe just for a weekend, when these were getting revealed. And I said to you straight away that it was like, their look straight away was, yep, that's an army for me.
Yep, I remember talking about it for a long time, and I think I was remember saying to you, going like, I see what you're saying, but I just, for me, it wasn't for me, mainly because I was like, all the eels, they all look the same, they all look like breadsticks with guys on top of them, all the fins are pointing the same way, the tails are all flicking the same way back. And then we got there and we looked at the cabinet and go, oh no, all the eels are posed differently. This is actually really quite cool, because when we went up there, it's when they had, like the week before the release, they had all the models in the cabinet, didn't they?
Yeah, you got to see all the models in the cabinet, and like the posing of the reavers and the thralls, the eels, you know, the sharks.
I think it's the reavers were the, I mean obviously the sharks and everything else are awesome, but I think the reavers were the first one for me to go, how they look like they were running, because how they I obviously can't guarantee all this is true, but how I heard these models were sort of like made is, the first step is, after they did all the sketching and stuff, was they got, you know, actors to dress up in all those black sort of like green screens suits where they have like all the little bubbles on them to do all like the motion capture, and you can really see it in their models, can't you? Like I've got them on my screen now where they're all like sort of like leaping to the side or running or sprinting. They all look like they're free running, don't they? They are.
Alright, yeah, it's a lot different than what you normally see with, you say like archer sculpts. Archer sculpts are most of the time in that kind of 2 pose, 3 pose kind of way.
They're not your Bretonian archers, if you see where I'm coming from, like the standard. You know, just like sort of, I don't know, like pointing the bow at like a 45-degree angle, you know.
Yeah, you got up shot,
looking.
middle shot, or reloading.
Exactly. Which are really
so
nice.
with these sculpts, they're running all over the place. They're jumping in the air. They're jumping down. There's so much going on with these models.
Oh, there really is, and I do remember now when we were going up there, and I was saying that I didn't really like the eels and the other stuff, and I was proven wrong. But the one I did like though was Volturus, or just the Achillean King. I thought that was a really great model with the unicorn seahorse.
Yeah, yeah. As soon as I see that, it's like, yep, that's my leader. I don't care how good he's gonna be. That's my leader.
Yeah, he is great. And then it came to my conclusion when I saw it, and I was just along the lines of, I'll just get up this meme now, which basically says, when Games Workshop releases a new sculpt completely unrelated to your army, and then it's just going, I've always considered myself as something as a collector, because sometimes there are just sculpts that are out there that you have to get. I haven't got this guy yet, but like, there's always ways you can think of a conversion, how it can go in your army. It's like when an alright Stormcast model comes out and go, yeah, that'll make a great Chaos Champion.
Oh yeah, the king is just a brilliant model, and I'm happy to have 3 of them.
Yeah, and there's a name
you
character
have
version
them
as well, which is cool.
Yeah, and it is definitely a cool character as well.
And so that's sort of like off the table, nice things about them, a bit about their lore as well. So when we go using them on the table, I've never played as Deepkin, but I certainly have fought against your Deepkin, or just mainly your Mozart before, and my bottom is still sparks occasionally from all the static electricity. So what would you say their strengths are on the table?
I'd say their main strength in the table is probably speed. They've got access to probably one of the fastest units in the game, and it really does mean that you can cover a lot of the board really fast, and kind of make up for your mistakes if you make any during the game.
Yeah,
and those same units can hit hard or be annoying to shift, depending on which ones you want to do. We'll get that in a bit. But there are like 2 varieties. But the main thing are both very fast. And their allegiance abilities is no slouch for them either. It definitely helps with their speed.
And it's important to note that their allegiance ability was, when it first came out, it was like, whoa, this is a bit of a power creep, but it has all evened out now. But being able to, so I'll let you explain it, but they have ties, don't they? For every turn, they get a different benefit. So if your daughter's a Kane player, similar to that, depending on what turn you're on.
Yeah, like you say, at the time of them coming out, it did seem like a bit of a power shift, mainly because of one turn in particular. But now it has, I would say, yeah, definitely now it has balanced out with how powerful it is now compared to the new armies that have been updated or new armies that have come out. But yeah, we're going a quick look on their allegiance abilities.
Yep.
So you have the tides. The tide is your allegiance abilities for the army, and basically each turn you get a new ability for your whole army. So you got like turn 1, you get all your units count as being in cover, unless obviously it's a monster. So +1 to your save all across the board, solid. You can't really argue with that. Turn 2, you get to run and charge, which then makes it makes every unit in your army very fast. Because you can run everything forward and still charge if you need to. And then turn 3 is probably the one that kind of felt like the power surge, where everything in your army fights first.
It's almost how I would look at it, I'd almost consider that the turn you build everything else around. That's when you need to do your damage. Like, I know you can take a sub-allegiance to make it turn 2 instead, but that ability is kind of what you're basing your game plan around, isn't it, of doing damage?
Yeah, in terms of how I'd say Deepkin tactics would work, it's playing to the strength of your allegiance abilities. So definitely turn 3 is where you want to make the utmost most of fighting fast, get all your units in combat, double up on units that you want dead, because you can have 2 turns of double attacking them and hopefully wiping out your opponent's strong units.
And you've had a little bit of experience in that, haven't you?
Oh, I'm sure we've had plenty of games where the games have been over by turn 3.
Yeah, it's kind of one of like the games I have had against you with your Deepkin, and the game hasn't been over by turn 3, and it's still very much even, or maybe towards my side of things. You're in big trouble.
Yeah, you are in trouble, but then at the same time, turn 4 and your allegiance ability does kind of then counteract if you are in trouble. But turn 4 is then you get to retreat and then charge. So you get to retreat and still charge. So if you've gone in, not done as much damage as you can, you kind of then put on the back foot, especially on your units that have charge bonuses. You can retreat them, charge them again, get that attack bonus in, and have another go at it.
Yeah, it does really help. So another thing about their allegiance abilities is, let's say you're in your local meta, the guy you often play against happens to bring a lot of shooting to his to fight you, and you kind of get a bit fed up of, I don't know, taking a, shall we say, a bloodbound army and getting your Secretor always killed or something like that, and then you think, you know what, I want to get a new army to try and counter all his shooting. If you take Deepkin, your opponent is going to have to rethink his strategy, because with a Deepkin army, when the opponent tries to shoot you, they have to shoot the closest model to them.
Yes, that you can put up lots of different tactics with that with the Deepkin army. You can put a tank unit up front, do soak in no shots. You can also there is some artifacts that can help with minus to shooting, so you're forcing your opponent to shoot someone who is minus to hit while shooting, which I've employed that tactic before.
Mm-hmm.
But also, going on with like the other allegiance, you also have your scenery piece. So the scenery piece for the Deepkin is the Gloomtide Shipwreck, which is an awesome model.
Big.
And it's a nice big model. And you get to have 2. So you can deploy in a way with your ships that you can block line of sight and block models that they have to shoot from. And it's a very, what's it, like an anti-shooting kind of army, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, like, I've never really played shooting armies until I was proxying a shooting Bone Reaper army and only fought your Slaves to Darkness. But I know that taking a load of Mortek Crawlers, which are the catapults of the Bone Reapers, against a Deepkin army, if I knew you were bringing Deepkin, I wouldn't bother straight away. And that's something where if you take your Deepkin army to a tournament and you do fight against someone with a lot of Mortek Crawlers, and let's say that person hasn't put a lot of strategy behind it, it's just fling these 5 damage attacks at the enemy, they're going to be in trouble, and you'll be in good stead. And then what you were saying about the ships, the Gloomtide Shipwrecks, you're absolutely right. These things are, so they can have a chance to do mortal wounds to the enemy, and they can give you a as a Deepkin player, like a death save, a ward save on a 6. But James absolutely hit it right in the head, as expected. With these things, when he uses them against me, I generally, when we've had games, especially against your Deepkin, it's I think mainly probably against my Flesh Eaters, which were like Flayer heavy, that sort of list. So I fly, so I'm not too bothered by the Gloomtide Shipwreck because I will fly over it. However, if Jamie deployed these against, I don't know, a massed skeleton army of mine or something, or an army just doesn't fly, and he puts these in between two pieces of scenery. He can sometimes just shut off like 2 feet of the board while I have to walk around when you're only moving 4 fucking inches. That's more powerful than any ability they give off. Just alone their size is great. And
Yeah,
I'm sure,
their board control against armies that can't move fast, can't fly,
teleport.
can't teleport.
Like if you were to take this against a Slaves Darkness army that's not knight heavy and for some reason doesn't have the teleport spell, that's another army I can imagine that was struck. And it's not even like if you take these, it's just I get 2 to deploy. So, and if you are, how I say it, if you're on a budget with your Deepkin army, the one Gloomtide Shipwreck does break into 2, so then you can spread it around. But if you can afford to get 2 of these, you're always taking 2. It's like Sylvaneth Wildwoods. If you could, like, you can start with like the new Sylvaneth Wildwood. You buy the box and it comes with 3 trees that make like a grove, make like a circle. And a Wildwood consists of 1 box of trees or 2 box of trees. So if you can afford it, you're always going to take 2. And just another interesting thing about the senior piece for the Deepkin is that apart from Sylvaneth, I believe these guys were the first ones to get like a brand new scenery piece of them, or actually the Sylvaneth had the old trees, so I think they were the first ones to get a scenery piece, weren't they?
Yeah, I think Sylvaneth obviously had the old trees, but with like how GW then started to change their army like styles, I think the Deepkin was the first one to have a scenery piece. So it kind of goes on that first thing as well. When the first Deepkin book was out, there was a bit of a power creep because no one else had like scenery bits. No. Apart from like unless you had played a Sylvaneth army.
And I remember now how like for sure it definitely was the first like brand new scenery kit for an army. Was because when they showcased it, they put it in like a jokey video where they made it look all dark and sinister, this ship, and then they put it in a fish tank at the end. And I remember looking at that, and there were some people going like, "What is it? Does it move? Does it fire? Does it attack? Or something like that?" And obviously, like looking at it through today's eyes, if we were to look at that straight away, we'd go, "Oh, obviously it's a scenery piece."
No, yeah, definitely. But that was a great video as well, by the way.
Yeah, that was cool, and that was I think that's back in Malign Portents and stuff and all that, because we weren't too sure it was the Deepkin. That it was very very interesting times. Right, okay, so that's sort of the allegiance abilities. Is there any sub-allegiances that stand out to you?
I suppose if you're looking at sub-allegiances, it all depends on your army build. There's plenty of, unlike some of the newer books where you have one sub-allegiance that is just, yep, that's the best one. Say the Bone Reapers, for example. Yep. If you're not taking Petrifex Elite, then...
You have the horrible feeling in the back of your head that you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you can take the others for fun, but if you're going competitive, then it's Petrifex Elite all the way. The Deepkin, however, have a more, I'd say, balanced set. I'll go over probably my 2 favourite, and that would be, you got the Dom Han, which is the one I think I've played most, and it revolves around, I'd say it probably best suits your ills, and that's probably why I played it a lot. I think I got the bonus to reroll all failed wounds against monsters, which is very good at the moment with, what was it, Keeper of Secrets running around, Terrorgeist, Zombie Dragons,
Stonehorns, I imagine, because me and you haven't really been playing like competitive Age of Sigmar, especially at like a tournament level, for a few months now, so we haven't seen the ogres and stuff, but I imagine there's a few Stonehorns and stuff. It's something you probably commonly see.
Yeah, having bonus against monsters, I think, is always a good thing, because now some monsters out there, especially around the top table, the monsters can do so much damage to your army.
yeah, it's why like having a tool against them is great. I don't know, if you're Zeech, you've got loads of options, but you've got like screamers are perfectly designed to fight monsters. But going back to Deepkin, so I say it's the good one against monsters. What makes it good?
So you get to, on the charge for your Killians and the Marty, so that's pretty much everything in your army. You're rerolling ones to hit on the charge. Always loves rerolls to hit. And it also means you don't have to keep other characters in your army that can do that close. And you get to reroll all failed wounds for Achilleans, which are your higher class, your eel riders, your sharks, and the Vidon. You get to reroll all failed wound rolls in its monsters. So that's a good list. What I was running just to take down. Most of the time, it was against your Terrorgeist or Zombie Dragon.
Mm-hmm. Or even when I was taking Nagash or something, because he's a monster, so it's...
Yeah, so when you're going up against a monster, if you got the charge, you're rerolling ones to hit, and you're rerolling all failed win rolls. Proper solid to take down a monster.
And what I found when I fought against your Deepkin, well, when I say what I found, I mean, no question about it. The Moser Guard are where the damage is at. And being able to give them the buff to do those rerolls is great. And
yeah, you and I both know, you know, every game player, you roll the dice, you think, oh yeah, that's a lot of hits. And you go to wound, and that's where it lets you down. You'll get like 3 wound rolls out of like 10 dice. And you think, oh, having that reroll, yes. You're going to be a lot happier than trying to make your opponent save their beloved monster.
Oh, massively. And with these guys, I find I don't want to fixate on the Moser Guard, but while we're talking about them, they do the electric shocks. That if you're running enough eels, they can tend to kill the monster by itself. But even if it doesn't, it's almost like when you're, because obviously the electric shocks you do is once per turn, and sorry, not once per turn, once per game.
Once per game.
Yeah, and so obviously it's not like you can chuck them around all the time, but usually there is a perfect. You can tell when you want to do it, and when you come to do your actual attacks after you've done the electrical shocks, which I believe are at the end of the charge phase, not the start of the combat phase, big difference. After you've done them and then you go to attack, it's almost like a second attack. That's what kind of like you've done half the damage already. So
yeah, and also like talking about the electric shocks, the Moser Guard, it's a good fail safe. If you've mismoved them and they've got charge, they can do some damage before getting hit by something heavy.
Yeah.
So it just negates some of the damage that's coming their way.
Something so that I was just going to say, like, you're absolutely right. That it's a good self. If you have made a mistake, it can be a bit forgiving, because something you do not want to forget in this army is that electric shocks for your Moser Guard, because you don't want to make a mistake. Your unit of Moser Guard get charged, a lot of them die, and then it gets to the next turn and you go, oh, I forgot to activate the electric shocks. Oh, damn. It's almost like as a death player, if you're a Flesh Eater Corp player and you forget to bring back your models, it is... If you forget something like that, you're in real big trouble.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's an ability that can save... it can save your units from catching objectives. Killing off a few extra models, or saving your models from taking loads more damage.
Yeah,
a Terrorgeist at full wounds is going to do a lot of damage to you. A Terrorgeist at half wounds is not going to be as much effective.
No, it's like, let's say I charge you with a zombie dragon, and I charge... Let's say I go along the lines of... Let's say I'm quite new against the Deepkin, but I feel like I kind of know how they work. So I go, right, he's got a unit of 9 of these bastard Moser Guard. I'm going to charge them with my zombie dragon right at the edge of his unit, so not many can attack my zombie dragon, and I'll get the full benefits of attacking. And your Moser Guard are weaker when they're not on the charge, so I try and make the most of it. I charge the zombie dragon in, You then do your Ali G style of lightning chain all the way down to the one Moser guard that's in base contact or within 3 inches of my zombie dragon, and you roll 9 dice. So the electric shocks, you roll a dice for each eel, don't you? On a 4, it's 1 mortal wound. On a 6, it's D3.
Yep. That's right.
So you roll a 9 dice against that zombie dragon, and it's not absurd to think that you could maybe kill the zombie dragon when it charged you.
Yeah, we've had plenty of games where they've been both very powerful and also very, it's like they're static electricity.
Yeah, as an opponent against your Moser Guard, it is a sigh of relief when you fluff that roll for them, because usually you do quite well, and then when you don't get it, it is like, I can see in your face, you're like, right, I'm gonna have to do something to try and fix the situation now, because you almost come to rely on it, don't you?
It is definitely a good, when you play Deepkin quite a long time, it's a good fail-safe if you've made a bit of a mistake, just to make sure that your unit does some damage before it maybe dies.
When it gets and the best thing about it is that, like, and then you'll take a unit of Ishtengard for, I don't know, for sport or something, and then I'm looking at things to charge, and I'll go like, what happens if I charge these? They're going to electrocute you. And I go, well, you definitely, and then you go, I might do. So there's always a chance that you won't. And then I go like, what about if I charge these Ishtengard? I go, they don't take any rend. I'm like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, you definitely got, I'd say, before we go into the units, you've definitely got some options. Not as much options as other armies, but you've got a good variety of solid options.
Yeah, and so sorry, we're getting distracted when talking about the units. I'll bring us back. So we're talking about sub-allegiances. So what was it Futan? It's not Futan, is it? The one.
It's the other one is the Fuvian, which I'd probably would think, because of a combo with a certain hero, they are probably maybe the most favoured enclave out of all the Deepkin ones.
What hero is that then?
So, firstly, like, their ability is you get to reroll 1s for the units when you're affected by Flood Tide. So that's the run and charge.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, you don't get a retreat and charge, you get another run and charge. So you lose turn 4 retreat, but you get the charge again. So it doesn't have, you got a plan with the Fuvian not to really want to be in combat on turn 4.
Yeah, it's not. It's almost like when your standard Deepkin, it's like, say, turn 3 is when you're doing your damage and everything else, and you're sort of playing for that mid game. But with this other one, it's a lot more. You're looking at the late game, aren't you, to see how your allegiance ability is really going to benefit you the most.
Yeah, I'd say Fuvian, before like talking about their main combo with the hero, if you get to turn 4, you're kind of wanting turn 3 to have gone good, because that way you've done turn 3, you've killed what you've charged in turn 3, and then turn 4 you can run and then charge again. So pretty much it's run in, kill it, next turn, run again, kill the next thing. It's a very offensive, I'd say, a very offensive enclave to play.
Yeah, and would you say that's one where, obviously if you're happy to doing it straight from the bat, that's fine, but maybe when you've had just a bit more experience with the Deepkin? Because it is helping it's helping your movement, isn't it? Whereas the other one it's quite straightforward. The other one is helping your attacks.
Yeah, I'd say the Fuvian is definitely playing. It's also a very low, I would say, a very low model count list, because their abilities tend to benefit all the riders, everyone that can fly, because you want to make the most of the movement and then hitting someone very hard and then moving on.
Yeah.
And the eels, sharks, and the Viodon, and even your mounted heroes can all do that. Because the second part of their ability is in the combat phase, you can reroll wound rolls for all Thuvian mounts. So pretty much, like I just said, it's a very rider heavy, I'd say, clan. And that's why I think it's most popular, because your eels, your king, your Viodon, your shark are all doing so much more in this clan.
Yeah, and that's particularly the eels is what everyone does focus on. Like, it's not unusual to, but when I went to a tournament, I happened to fight 27 eel lists back to back, and if I'm honest, that wasn't really fun to fight. But it does, like anything, most armies have a few good units and then a couple really good units, and that's what everyone will take advantage of. So naturally, you want to buff those as best you can. Oh
yeah, definitely. And like with the Deepkin, you have got other enclaves. You've got an ally one that maybe favours a bit more magic. You have got an infantry one from the realm of death that is quite interesting.
Yeah. If I don't know, you're a deaf player and you're sort of thinking about doing another army, but you love the idea of always bring back your models. Well, that sub-allegiance is going to help towards it.
And yeah, and they can do it pretty well, to be honest, as well. I've played it once for a bit of fun, and it was funny playing and I was playing against a Nightwort army, and I was bringing back more models than what he was. It's like, haha, who's the death player now?
Yeah, and especially when you're next to your Gloomtime Shipwreck, going like, on a 6, I don't die, and then you do die on the next turn. I'm going to come back.
I'm going to bring them all back, rise them up.
Oh yeah, it's good fun. So are those sort of the main sub-allegiance we're thinking about?
Yeah, those would be the main sub-allegiance I think that most people look at. You've got 3 others. They've got quite a few nice options in there.
Yeah, that's something that we can always come back. Like I say, when we do like a proper full review of the Deepkin, where I spend months doing it, everything will be covered in detail. But like I say, it's just a summary this time around, and there's a Warhammer preview coming out at some point soon. So that's sort of like the sub-allegiances, and then when we go more, okay, yeah. So let's do more looking at the units. What are we thinking when we're looking at the units? And we're not going to go through all the war scrolls or anything like that, but like as a summary, we've already mentioned Mozargard. The only other thing I want to say about Mozargard, I'm sure you know it as well, is one of the strongest things I've always said about them is the size of their base, because we've already talked about the lightning ability they've got, the electric shocks. It is incredibly hard to try and screen against because they've got a 3-inch range. So if you put a bubble wrap unit to protect your Nagash or zombie dragon, whatever, chances are they're going to be able to electric shock over your screen. And then if you make a gap too big to try and make sure they're not within 3 inches when they charge, the Mozargard will just fly over your screen and charge whatever they want to kill anyway. So it is quite, and their spears are 2 inches.
Yeah. Mozargard 2-inch range on the spears, 3-inch range on a tail attack. They put out a lot of attacks, and decent ones as well. Shall we start on the Mozargard?
Yeah, I mean that's anyone who knows really anything about Deepkin is thinking Mozargard. Something completely different. So let's start on these guys.
So these I would consider are the heavy hitters in your army. I mean, the thralls for infantry can be really nasty, but the Mozargard, they got a 4-up save, they move 14 inches, have 4 wounds each, and they can put out loads of damage. Like we said before, you got the electric shocks. That is a nice fail safe. It's a nice bit of mortal wounds. But probably one of the main things is on the charge. They have 2 attacks each, with the leader having an extra 1. Freeze and freeze, -2, 2 damage, and that can be horrendous against any kind of unit in the game.
Most things are going to struggle to fight against that. I mean, imagine as someone who's building up a Nighthorn army, I can say you can take all your rend back, thank you. But apart from that,
Yeah.
there's I bet that's annoying when that comes across. It's like when I fought against the Grimglass Reapers, when I attacked them with a unit of 6 Morghast Archon, and go -2 rend, you go, don't take rend. Fuck you, buddy. But
it's a good thing, like for the Morsair Guard in particular. I'd say I've fought against Nighthorn quite a lot with the Deepkin, and the thing that you'd then go against something like that would be just pile on the attacks, isn't it? There's loads of attacks, keep going, and the Morsair Guard have that as well, because it's not just the rider. You have the mount that has 2 different sets of attacks.
And just something to say about the Deepkin, and something we should maybe mention earlier, a good thing about them, like army-wide, a lot of things are freeze and freeze, aren't they?
Yeah, pretty much freeze and freeze.
Massive difference.
Just pretty much all the way across the board.
Massively
I think there's one unit that has 4s and freeze in terms of Achillians, and then your Mighty Reavers, who are your archers, are 4s and 4s.
And a lot
but
of
then
things.
That's expected to be for
shooting,
archers.
isn't it? Yeah. Most things in close combat, most things in the Deepkin have at least -1 rend. Is that right?
No, unfortunately, unless you're going, the good thing for Deepkin, I'll say, if you've got your infantry, is that your infantry always has -1 rend. The eels kind of take more attack and maybe a bit more damage, because unfortunately you kind of lack a bit of rend if you're not on the charge, and if you don't have thralls.
Of course, yeah, because if you're not
Thralls, if you're not on the charge, you're kind of, I wouldn't say you're probably struggling to do damage, because I've killed plenty with just the amount of attacks that you do. But you're lacking maybe that bit of rend to kind of pierce through. Maybe like the Mortek Guard that are the newest army kind of out there.
Yeah, but I think the Moser Guard are really good, and that's why everyone has mentioned them on. Talking about when they're on the charge, because they get the electric shocks. They can do that anyway, but that's often when it's used, and they get the -2 rend with those spears, don't they?
Oh yeah, with like saying with their Legion's abilities, with a 14-inch move, you can run and then still charge.
Yeah.
If you want them to charge something, they are 99% going to be able to charge it.
And the amount of times where I fight, well, not recently, but I used to fight against these guys all the time with your army, and I'd always try and find ways to stop them charging me, and I think it would only work like 1 in 10 times. And then the other thing, which is great, and we're sort of talking about another unit now. Well, we sort of covered Moser Guard for a long time, so another thing they pair great with is a hero, which is the Soul Squire, because you can teleport 9 inches away from the enemy, then get +3 to charge, and then you re-roll your charge roll. So you need a 6 re-rolling.
Which
is
like you say, is a very quite...
Have you ever failed it? Like, that I can remember?
I think against you, probably, I don't think I've maybe ever really failed it against... I think, there was that one time with the flares in which then you proceeded to fail a 3-inch charge.
I failed a 3-inch charge twice, by the way, with a unit of 12 flares, and it was very
and then the 12 fires then had to die.
Oh, yeah, it's horrendous.
But it is the little Soul Squire guy. He doesn't. I wouldn't say he doesn't bring much, but what he does bring is deep striking with either 1 or 2 units from your army, set them up off the board at the beginning of the game, and then turning up 9 inches away from the enemy, in which then he has an ability to add 3 to your charge. So now your 9-inch charge is now a 6-inch charge, like you say, re-rolling.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can, like, you know, deploy them straight away and then use them throughout the game as you wish, but I would say the Soul Squire is I don't know, kind of like a one-trick pony or a one-turn pony or something, where he does a thing, he teleports guys down with him, he makes them be able to charge something, and then after that, unless he's running to just stand on an objective or something, he's not really doing anything. That's what you're paying your points for, is for that tactical ability, which is most times worth it.
Oh yeah, I think it's the thing that does make him maybe a bit more game viable throughout the game is that ability is a 24-inch range that he points at someone and you get +3. If that was any shorter, if that was like a 12-inch range, he would be a definite one trick. You bring him on and then he'll probably do nothing for the rest of the game. But luckily it's 24 inches, so you've got a good distance to help other units in your army to get important charges off. Yeah. And we all know, we've all been there. You need that charge. Wouldn't you love to have +3
and
to your charge?
Re-roll.
And have a reroll.
Makes a massive difference. But yeah, so that's sort of a nice combination. Going back to a non-hero, so we talked about the Moser Guard, so I think a good comparison now is the Island Guard. So these are their sort of, I would say their little brother, who's still pretty good, but it's not as much in the spotlight.
Yeah, these are your defensive screens. If you want a unit protected, these eels will protect it for you. They got the same kind of movement. They got the same movement as a Moser Guard, the same wounds, the same 4-up save. But what makes these guys tanky is they ignore rend, and if they charge someone, they gain +1 to their save.
Well, it's almost like one of those things where you think, but surely it should be the other way around if they stand there. But no, it's when they charge, which is great. I mean, like, if they, and even I'm trying to think, like, if they get charged, they happen to be in cover or within range of the big turtle, they still have a 3-up save, which is unrendable.
A 3-up save unrendable is something annoying to get through.
If you want to put a Mystic Shield on them, why not?
Yeah, you have access to wizards in this army, so Mystic Shield is not far off to have that rerolls to 1.
And I tell
you got a unit that is not really want to be dying.
These are a really good tanky unit. They are really tanky, or like anvil's not really the right word because it sort of implies it's got lots of wounds, but they are such good. They are almost like, you know, like your Liberator unit or something like that. They are your
I tend to use my unit as, because they're so fast, to go and grab objectives from behind people, because they still have a decent amount of attacks to kill things that people tend to leave on objectives. Most of the time it's a squishy unit, a cheap unit. These guys still have enough damage output to kill soft objective holders, as well as not dying in return. These guys will win the long fight against squish units. Whether you've just left 10 skeletons on the back objective, 3 flayers,
Talking
maybe
directly from experience.
maybe your ghouls. These guys will probably win in the fight against all them.
Yeah, I agree. They are good. And then even if I was to chuck something even their way, let's say like free crypt horrors, these guys will always win because they haven't got any rend. But I mean, free flares, let's say, something of equal value against these guys. These guys will more than likely just outgrind whatever similar value I send at them because of just how good their save are. So they're going to hold that objective, even if you're only holding it because you got there first essentially, and the enemy's attacking you with the same equal amount of models. You will probably eventually whittle the enemy down. So,
yeah, featuring. What was it?
They can stay in a
There's
fight
not
for
a
a long
lot of
time.
rend through this army, but with the eels, you got the rider that attacks. There's a bite that comes from the mount, which is a D3 damage attack, and then you have D3 attacks from its tail. But just one rider has the potential of 7 attacks. If you roll perfectly on the tail, you have 7 attacks per rider, which is 21 attacks just from three models. They do a lot of good clearing for the back objectives.
Yeah, they are. They are a unit to not forget about, certainly if you're fighting against them, but also when you're building a list, because you can get... I think that's why I want to talk about them as well, is because you can get very much carried away with going, oh, Mosegard are the best unit for the army, everything else, but they don't solve every trick for every situation. It is good to have a unit of these, and I do often, when I fight against you or I see you play against other people, you will take a unit of these.
Yeah, I always like a unit too, because they can also combine with the shooting, your shooting ability. That they can sit out front, they can take the shots, they ignore rend. Turn 1 you're in cover, so then have a 3-up save, unrendable, and you'll just be laughing those shots away. -2 on that cannon, alright mate, that's a 3-up save for me.
And it's as long as you just look at the enemy in frustration, the enemy looks at you with frustration, because it's a great unit to use that a really good allegiance ability with. So yeah, so they do certainly have a use, right? And then going to something a bit small. Now I do tend to like to go through the units as the weakest first and going, but we had to talk about the Mosegard because everyone talks about them. But if we start with let's start with Thrall, shall we? Talking about what are our thoughts of these guys?
I would actually consider these maybe sometimes the unsung heroes of the Deepkin. I say that in the fact of they're quite hard to use, whereas like Mosegard and the Ill Riders I'd say are a much easier unit to kind of use. But the Mighty Thralls can put up so much damage, but at the same time they're like they're your glass cannon. They can put up so much damage, but can die quite quick.
Yeah, they are good against hordes because they get 2 attacks. They are good against things with a wound of 3 or more, I believe, because they do 2 damage on each attack. Is that right?
So, yeah, let's go for as a basic infantry unit. I don't think there's many infantry units that can compare with their damage. They've got a 6-inch move, so they're not slow. A 5-up save, it's better than a 6-up. Let's say that.
Yeah. Never. Until you play with an army with a 6-up save, never criticise a 5-up.
But yeah, like you were just touching on like their abilities. So their base stats are 2 attacks, freeze to hit, freeze to wound, pretty much standard across the army. -1 rend, always nice to have with 1 damage. You get to have a banner guy for every 10, and he gets an extra attack. But in their abilities, add 1 to the attack characteristic of their weapons if they target an enemy with only 1 wound.
Yeah.
So you're going from 21 attacks to then 32? With just a unit of 10, and it's all freeze and freeze, -1, 1 damage. They can clear hordes for you a lot quicker than what the Morse Guard can.
Yeah, and because the Morse Guard, because they are, we've already said they are your damage dealing unit in your army. They have got a job to do. They need to be dealing with the prime threats from the enemies. They can't be getting bogged down by things like 10 ghouls or something like that, or things basically that are beneath them. That is why the thralls are more of a sort of, I don't want to say the backbone of the army, but they will deal with like the threats that aren't so severe, but they need to be taken care of. Do you sort of see where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. But then the next part of their ability kind of can counteract that. And that's what I was saying at the beginning. They're quite a hard unit to kind of play, because you don't want them to be attacked. You want them to be doing the attacking. Because the next turn is add 1 to the damage characteristic of their weapons if they're attacking a model that has a wound characteristic of 4 or more.
4 or more, got you.
So up against monsters, up against, say, juggernauts, heavy cavalry that have 4 wounds, some Morphane. You can, each one of your attacks is doing 2 damage.
Yeah, flares as well, that sort of thing, horrors. And it's the only, like you say, it's sort of hard to place where you put these guys and like think how best to use them. The best thing they are to not fight against is things with 2 or 3 wounds. Like just outright, it's just like try to avoid Ard boys and brutes essentially.
Yeah.
Go after the piggies.
If you're going up against an orc player, you'd want these guys to try and go after the pig riders, or even the Maw Crusher. It may sound silly, but
to be fair, I haven't played Rangers, but when I fought against you a while back, I remember charging a unit of 3 Mozarguard with a Aberrant Ghoul King on Zombie Dragon, and I think I only killed 1 of your Mozarguard, and I was like, oh, bugger. And then the next turn you charged me with just 10 of these, and I had a Zombie Dragon on full health, and you charged me with just 10 of these, and these 10 things killed it in 1 turn. And that's a Zombie Dragon with a Ghoul King on it.
They have, but damage.
I think that's the best example we have, isn't it, of just like the potential what these guys can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I played them at the tournament, I ran a unit of 30 of them. Just got the fact that was a tournament where they was what I had painted, but I played against a Skaven player, and these guys just killed clan rats for fun.
And that was, just to say, was that the Skaven player of the really good Instagram army with the blue with the feather hats?
Yeah,
and everything? Yeah,
I had
fantastic.
the lovely honour of playing him on my last game. It was a great time to end in the tournament with.
I'll be honest, I can't remember his name, but he had the most beautiful Skaven army I've seen.
Oh, it was a very industrial, but at the same time, Renaissance kind of thing. All these little clan rats had nice little hats on.
If you've seen,
feathers.
Yeah, it's like if you've seen on social media a light blue Skaven army colour scheme with sort of like white emblems on them, and they're kit bashed with Caradon Overlords and some Empire models, that's the army. And they have like big trails of smoke coming off them and all that sort of thing. And there's a Vermin Lord of the top hat with a lightning gun. It was a
a great army to end the tournament with. But it was a good fight, a good battle for the Deepkin as well, featuring the Mighty Thralls. Most of my tournament we were playing up against Stormcast or Nighthaunt weren't too bad. I was chopping through quite a lot of Nighthaunt with the amount of attacks I was throwing at them.
Right.
Even with like they ignore rend, but
Weighted dice always works.
They can't ignore 50 odd attacks against them.
And then that's just when you do that, and then your soul render dies, and they go, because your soul render died, I'm bringing 30 of them back. No, you're not, you bastard. But no, me and you both fought against the same person who had those 30 Grimir. It was a very nice guy. Just his army was horrendous. But anyway, so those are the Thralls. Going on to the Namarti Reavers, who are they're ones who essentially Thralls, but they're a range variant. They are not as, how I would quickly summarise them, they give you a tactical edge because they've got the range ability, but their damage output is not nearly as good as the Thralls.
No, it doesn't come close to what the Thralls can do. But they're your only kind of like, I wouldn't say they're not your only ranged unit in this army, but they provide the most range shooting.
Yeah, for an elf army, I say for an elf army, I mean Daughters of Cain haven't got the best shooting either, but they're not the most shooty army.
No. The Reavers provide, I'd say, pretty much like 80% of the meta shooting for the Deepkin army. And even then, it's 18 inches, which is not very far, I'd say, for shooting.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember when I played against you, the Skaven I had a unit of 20 clan rats, and you teleported within range of my clan rats with these guys with the Soul Squire, and so the Soul Squire killed one of my rats with his fish, which is not a good attack. And these guys, did they kill any? Did they kill any of my rats? Any of my clan rats who have like a 6-up save or whatever it was?
I actually think they didn't, and that was the first time I think I actually brought them to a game.
I don't think you haven't used them much other than that, have you?
I'd say their kind of best role is objective grabbing. They move 8 inches. They're faster than the Thralls. 8 inches for infantry is really fast.
It is. There's some horses out there that move 8 inches. Like they are very.
Yeah, trying to think off the top of my head. I don't think how far do my Juggernauts move?
Well, I know these guys are only 2 inches slower than Chaos Knights.
So it's like these guys are fast, and they get to re-roll their run rolls.
Because what's their shooting? 18 inches, you say?
So they get one. Yeah, they get one shot at 18 inches.
So 26-inch shooting they can do if they could move the full distance and everything else.
Yeah, I definitely would say their best role is maybe some backup support and try and pick off maybe that annoying model that's tagged your unit.
And it's also one of those things where obviously it's not the longest range, they just stand still, but if you need to just have a unit at the back of the board to sit on an objective, and if the enemy comes close, they can start shooting at them a little bit before they get into comp. They can. They're not a unit that's going to be completely pointless if it's just sitting on an objective, maybe.
Oh no, you still have any in the game. Any damage is damage at the end of the day, because we've had games where one of us have won by one wound because one model has or has not died. I think one of our early games, you won a game because you had one more skeleton on an objective, and I'd forgot to charge in one guy.
You forgot to charge in someone who had 3 or 4 attacks that do 2 damage each with a -1 rend, but that's fine.
It's little things like that. Everyone's had games out there that you lose by the
tiniest,
smallest of margin.
Yeah.
And any extra damage is always welcome.
That's why I love things like most of the yoga models in the new battle tome all got a 1 attack bite. Just 1 attack, 1 damage, but that does make a big difference. Like just little things.
Yeah, you're playing up against Nighthawk who ignore friend. You just want to be throwing as many attacks you can at them. And those extra, you got a unit of 8, an extra 8 attacks could kill an extra 4. And that's what you want from them.
And also with shooting, if you're fighting against something like Nighthawk or something like that, and you go, I wish I could kill that Guardian at the Souls who's hiding at the back. My eels can't just quite reach him because he's surrounded with chain rasps. Wish I had something to shoot him down with. Well, you got these guys. So, I would say, particularly if you've got them already, give these guys a go. Because when you've used them, you've had quite bad experiences. Like,
I've used them a few times since. Because that one game, they've done pretty much nothing. But now I've tried to change my tactics in how I use them to the more of what we just talked about. And they do help. And I think they did just get a points decrease as well, so that's another good positive. Because I think what kind of made them quite hard to use at the beginning was their points cost was maybe overpointed to what they actually do. Which now things have changed and they're a lot more viable now.
Yeah, I don't exactly. It's been quite a bit of time since Battletome came out, and I don't always think too much of the playtesters for GW because it almost feels like do they actually play the armies a little bit before they do the points. But so that's the Namati Reavers. We've talked about the eels, so now going to some of the bigger things. So why don't you tell us about the Jaws of the Ocean? Not really the Jaws of the Ocean. You're probably thinking of another model now that I've mentioned that. But I mean the Achillean Achillean, what's it called?
Alopex.
Alopex, there we go.
Yeah, when you're saying Jaws of the Ocean, I was
thinking of the Leviathan, weren't you?
Just because of its crushing jaw.
Yeah. But let's start with something a bit smaller. So, lovely model. What are thoughts? Why do we not see enough of these?
Let's take them. Let's go over them both as a whole. Both the Alopex and the Leviathan are the monsters of the army. I know the shark seems small, but it still has the monster keyword.
It's just not a behemoth, that's the difference, yeah?
Yeah, it doesn't have the behemoth keyword, but it still counts as a monster, so be wary of your opponents that have monster hunters in their army.
Exactly. Remember, if you ever happen to fight against the Korgoraths or the Bloodbound, I believe they still have the monster keyword. So
yeah, so these kind of join the Korgorath in the small monster category.
Yeah, and I have to say this is one of my favourite models of the army.
Oh yeah, definitely. When we saw these on the wide, it was like, I've got to have them.
And the sharks, like, I don't know. If I asked a child to draw a shark for me, they would draw it with 2 fins. They'd make everything more pointy, more teeth. Like, it's an evil-looking shark.
It's a very cool model. And it's the same with like the Leviathan, a giant turtle with blades on it and people riding it. Yep. I'll have that every day.
I mean, this is what happens if you save the sea turtles too much. They evolve and start taking over. And look at the size of the thing. It almost, I don't know why, but it reminds me, like, going to the Leviathan now, it reminds me a little bit of the, the first Avengers film, where they have the things that attack New York City, the big, like, eel. They're not eels, but it reminds me of a Leviathan.
Yeah.
I think it's the multiple fins.
It's the kind of scene that you can imagine with their magical ability of, like, flying over the land.
Yeah.
It'd be that kind of scene, but you don't have all the towering buildings and that. But let's get over.
Yeah, so going back to the
why you don't really see these a lot. It's maybe because GW have over pointed them, I'd say. The Alopex has just had a points decrease, which does make it a lot more viable in the game. Because you can take him up to a unit of 4, which I've ran a unit of 3 before, and they can do loads of damage. But at the same time,
they're quite swingy, aren't they? A little bit because it relies on their jaw attacks, main, isn't it?
the main damage is on their jaw attacks. Great. 1 attack, freeze and freeze, -2 rend, 3 damage, which is going to hurt anyone. But it is just 1 attack. But then I think the main downside, you kind of want to take them in a big unit like I did. But if you lose one, they're bravery 6, which is very low for elves. Bravery 6, and you lose one, you cannot really be afforded to lose another 8 wound model on a battle shock test.
It's like, a typical example is like when you think about like Mornfan pack cavalry, the big ogres riding the rhinos, and you think if you can make them run away to battle shock, brilliant. But these guys are even more of a bigger target to that, and if I was to fight against them and I had bravery debuffing abilities in my army, I would capitalise that on these guys to try and make them run. I think I can't remember, it might have not been the rat swarms, but I remember when you attacked the rat swarms and one of yours did die, it was like a bit of a big roll to see if another one was going to run away.
Oh yeah, because the fact that you lose one and then you've got potential of losing another 2 battle shock. If they were bravery 7, you'd be quite alright, because unless your enemy had debuffs, you'd be feeling a lot better. But bravery 6, that roll, it just gets the sweat on.
Yeah, I mean, you can.
Obviously, you got the immunity to battle shock.
Is there
using a command point?
Do you have an ability or artifact or command trait in your army to above Achillean units to have like +2 to their bravery or anything like that? Yeah,
there is plenty of stuff.
If you want to take loads of sharks, you can do it. I mean,
just give if you're giving that artifact to your leader, you want these guys hugging your leader.
Yeah,
there's no tomorrow.
Exactly. And how many sharks do you have, Jamie?
I have 7.
7 sharks, and you've never really you didn't set out to buy 7 sharks. It just kind of happened.
It did just kind of happen. I had 1 shark, and then the next thing I know, I had 7.
Yeah, and it's like, and how many of those have you used at most? 3, isn't it?
I think it was 3. One big unit of 3, which was loads of fun.
Yeah, and something that me and you have been talking about is like when, obviously, everything that's going on in the world, when it's over and we start playing some games again, do sort of maybe more narrative-driven games, and I can definitely see these guys coming out because they are very fun. They're cool, and I wouldn't say they're bad. It's just, unfortunately for them, they're in an army where all points do tend to go towards Mozarguard because they're very competitive. So it's not that these guys are bad, it's just hard to say that they are worth taking as much as the Mozarguard. Yeah,
but when the army was first released, these, I did play these, I did play the Sharks, but when you get to more competitive games, points cost compared to what they do in the game, Mozarguard or Isengard just win out. But these do have a place. They've got, between the Alopex and the Leviathan, you've got the rest of your shooting in your army.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the harpoons on the top, so that does give them it gives you that extra bit of ranged damage, that extra picking off units, and it's better than, the shooting is kind of better stats than what the Thralls have.
Yeah, I'd say
still freeze and freeze, no rendo, 1 damage.
Yeah,
so, I had a unit of 3 of them, so that's 9 shots at freeze and freeze. It's picking off a few extra wounds.
I think for me, when I first saw the model, I was disappointed to see what the shooting attacks were like. Because I was like, oh, this thing, the shooting attack look awesome, but when you read the stats, not so. But then when you come to realise that the shooting is just an element of the model, it's not what dominates it, which is fine. And if you want to have a shark that has a mounted crossbow on it, then or more like a scorpion ballista at this point.
Oh yeah, if you want some cool sea animals with elves riding them, and then just to top it off, add a big ass crossbow on there. And then these are the guys.
Yeah.
These are the guys you want in the army, and they are great visual points in the army as well.
Fantastic, and just sort of talking about, you can really see it on this model and on the army as a whole. It's like imagine just sort of like asking GW like, oh, what sort of like theme do the elves have, like aesthetically? And they go, I don't know, Atlantean, ancient mythical Greek theme, and then it's just like, yeah, that's cool, I'll take that.
Yeah, straight away when I saw that, love it. And then Leviathan.
Yep.
As you're like your, I don't know if I'd say it's kind of like your centerpiece. It is your like centerpiece monster.
It's your.
You got that. We got one more like unit in terms of the heroes.
But by sheer mass, it is the biggest.
It is the biggest model you have. And I would say he's not your Terrorgeist. Definitely, I would say this. He's not your up there with Terrorgeist or Keeper of Secrets. But he has good damage.
Yeah. Sorry, I'll let you continue.
Yeah, what he has over those monsters, he has a 3-up save, which makes him quite hard to take down. 1 attack, which is loving crushing jaws. 2s to hit, 2s to wound, -2 d6 damage, and if you roll a 6 to hit, it's straight up d6. Just straight up 6 mortal wounds. It's not even a d6 mortal wounds. It's just straight up 6 mortal wounds. And that doesn't change. That's not affected by how much damage he takes. So if you got enough skill to roll 6s on that jaw, you are killing things.
You're doing a lot of damage, and I think you did a lot of damage when you charged me with this against my bile trolls or something. I think that's something that happened. And like you say, like he's not your Terrorgeist, your Keeper of Secrets. And the only thing I wanted to say about that is, but like, and I've laboured this point a lot, especially when I think the last few videos I've done, and I know you agree with me with this. Your Terrorgeist and your Keeper of Secrets, they're not your standard monsters. Those things are beyond overpowered. Like,
when you give any kind of monster with insane kind of attack rolls the ability to do it again straight after it's already done something, already done its attacks, then that is crazy. If the Leviathan had that ability, we probably would be saying,
yeah, well, it's like if you had
the 3rd best monster.
If you had 2 Leviathans, I don't know, and it's like, right, they're called the Leviathan twins. When one gets to attack, the other one gets to attack straight away. It would then make it more closer to that sort of level. But it's like, I think things like the Terrorgeist and the Keeper of Secrets, and not directly just looking at their war scrolls, but when you compare them to other abilities, I think it's just a bit silly writing. And like I say, a nice thing about taking, a Leviathan, there's no stigma behind it. It's not like if you rock up and you play against Hedonites of Sinesh and your opponent deploys 4 keepers and you go, right, okay, it's going to be that kind of game. If your opponent deploys 4 of these Leviathans, you go, fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun game.
Yeah, it's and also like I said, they've got a 3-up save. They share the love. They spread a cover save, don't they, around them? Is it a cover save?
Yeah, it's a cover save, wholly within 12 inches of the Leviathan, and he has a big base, so that is a lot of coverage. He too has the cool harpoons on the back. They're putting out range damage as well. And then the best thing I would say about the Leviathan is everything hits on a 3, apart from the jaw that hits on the 2. So you haven't got none of this monster stuff of 4s to hit.
No, that's because it's like, I don't know, like a really cool monster is like a stone horn, and then it's like horns and stuff attack or hit on a 4, and you have to like take something else to make it hit on a 3, just because 4s are not good enough. You need, for big cool monsters, you want 3s. So no, and it's a and again, you can see a lot of the range and so on, but it's a lovely model. You know, it does draw attention. It's like something that me and you will know. Like when you go to tournaments or something, Kent, there's the whole pre-tournament bit when everyone's sort of sitting around registering and everything like that, and you're sort of looking at all the armies. And I don't know why, but you see all these lovely like army cases online, all that. At a tournament, everyone's just taking Tupperware boxes, and you're just looking. You'll just see one big Tupperware box, and a Leviathan is something you see across the room in a box and go, "That's a Deepkin army." It is.
Yeah, if you could
that's
see
Deepkin
that,
army, and that's
that's
a cool person.
That's a cool Deepkin army.
Yeah, and then like you'll look, and then like you'll just see 27 eels, and you go, "Oh, okay, I wonder what army that is." But no, the Leviathan is cool. And the best thing about the Leviathan, if you get the War Scroll cards and the Battle Tome are slightly different comparisons. Is that what it is?
Both of them are just misprinted, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh.
Which is, it's not lovely when you spend £30, £25 on a book, and then another 10 on War Scroll cards, and they're not even printed right.
Yeah, it's like my original Flesh Eater Court book. Like when I look at the crypt ghouls in it, and then when it says to hit, it just says to. It doesn't say to. And I was like, it's like a little thing, but like, when they're charging this much money for a book, it better be done right.
Yeah,
it would annoy me
3
if I
harpoon attacks.
I was gonna say,
it's like what? No, it's meant to have 6.
Yeah, it is annoying, but like it's one of those things. If I bought a limited, I know that wasn't around back then, but if you bought a limited edition book and it was a misprint, then you would be pissed. Like,
yeah, £50 for a book that they can't even double check.
And they go, "Oh, we've made an FAQ for you." Yeah, that's not going to fit nicely into the book, though, is it? Can you print it off in gold pages for me?
Print it.
But anyway, yes, that's the Leviathan. Cool. So
I suppose we go straight into the last. I'd probably say the last 2 centerpiece kind of models for the army.
Yeah. So what we think in aspects of sea,
one model
of the
kit.
storm. Which one are we going with?
Well, I kind of see it as you got the Achillean King as one model set, but has 2 different builds.
Oh right,
and
yeah.
The Eidolon, which is one kit but has 2 different builds. And both are absolutely amazing models to have.
Yeah, I think so. We've already talked about how cool the model is for the King, but when we look at things like, the Eidolon, that
it is just next level kind of stuff, isn't it?
I think me and you both said to each other, didn't we? Like when we saw that, even when it was in the cabinet, and you just look at it, and you just go, how is that standing up? Like, how is that strong enough to hold it? Like, because if you can see it on my screen now, like, just how the wave cloak, how the water drops connect to the. It is next level.
I must say, when I bought mine, I did not know how it was going to look when I was going to cut those sprues out.
How was it to like? Was it weird building it and stuff?
All the time you're kind of building it, I built mine in parts, so like easier to paint in and that. But when it came to gluing the cape to the base, even then I was still thinking, I don't see how this is going to hold nicely.
You can almost imagine, can't you? The person who designed this on the computer he's got to the end. It's like, I still don't know how this is going to work, but it looks very pretty on the computer. And how is it? I don't think I've ever picked your Eidolon up. I mean, how is it moving across the table? Is it one of those things where you feel like when you've done like a really, shall we say, interesting conversion, like my Archaeon, how you have to pick it up like a baby to make sure it doesn't snap?
No, I definitely say the Eidolon is a very solid model.
That's
Once
cool.
it is glued and put into its right places, it's very solid to pick up. You do well to drop it and break it.
Wow. And that's the beauty of plastic. I mean, everyone talks about the good old glory days, but You're not going to get something like that made out of metal, are you?
Oh god.
It's just
Yeah,
the weight of the model. The top half would just slowly bend in the middle. It's just full. But you get
that'd be
lots of lovely
impossible,
fishes
wouldn't it?
with this as well, don't you?
Yeah, you get so many little bits to add on, and obviously you get the extra spares because it's 2 builds, which is always nice with models. You get 2 builds.
So right, yeah. So let's talk about quickly about the aspect of the sea, which is the more
That aspect of the sea is the magic,
yeah,
and
it's,
I would
yeah,
say more
positive.
support, a support kind of unit. But it's it's kind of like a wizard on steroids in terms of it's definitely no slouch in combat. It doesn't have your little 1 attack, force, priest, -1 D3 damage. She's a lot more solid, I would say. 3 up save, 12 wounds. Does not have the monster keyword, is not a behemoth. So you could do all the little things you do with little heroes. I would say the only downside for this one is it's the magic version, but for me it lacks the proper magic potential. What you expect from a high point magic model.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it, where it's it needs to come down in points.
Yeah, good. I think we've talked about this kind of before, but if you look at the Eidolon aspect of the sea, point wise, it's kind of up there with close to Arcan, I think, in terms of points. And then you look at what Arcan can do for magic, and then you look at what the aspect of the sea can do. You're kind of like, well, what am I getting for my points then, in terms of magic abilities?
What does the aspect of the sea do? He can heal D3 wounds, or he can do something else to do with magic.
So I'd say the spells are really good. The 2 spells she comes with, or he comes with, are really solid. So you got casting value of 7, pick D6 enemy units within 12 inches, and they're all -1 to hit and all -1 bravery. Actually destroy your opponent's army in their damage output. If they're hitting on 3s now, they're hitting on 4s. If they're hitting on 4s, they're now barely fucking tickling you. It's a great spell. And then you got another one which either heals D3 units for your army or does D3 damage to your opponents. So that's a good thing to keep things alive, keep your ills alive, or do damage if you need to do damage. The only thing with that, you don't have no buffs. You don't have no casting buffs. She does have a reroll, which if you don't reroll, you get to heal D3 wounds for the Eidolon.
So it is, in most instances or cases, it is a turn 1 reroll, because your chances are you're not going to be healing.
Yeah. If you don't need the heal, then you'll take the reroll, and you get to reroll while you're a failed casting. Because you do get to do 2 spells with her. I'd say probably our best ability is her kind of like she has a 9-inch. Well, it's not even wholly within, so it's why a unit is within 9 inches of her. You add 3 to your bravery. That is the best thing I'd say what she had.
So she gives the other unit +3 to the bravery.
So +3 to your Deepkin units.
So bravery 9 sharks.
So it would be bravery 9 sharks. So that stops them from running. It stops your ills from running. It's pretty much really helps stop anything battle shock wise affecting your army.
And if you feel like, I don't know, as the opponent, you think, oh, she's a bit annoying, I want to get rid of her. 3 up save, 12 wounds, it's going to be hard. It's almost like it's not worth the effort.
Yeah, and obviously with the Allegiance beers of shooting the closest things. She can't just be shot off the board.
Of course,
she's
yeah.
right at the front. Like so, 3-up save, 12 wounds. You can stack things on her. You can have artifacts from the book.
Yeah,
that can help. You know, she's not a
Not
monster,
an-
so
May
she
say
can
like,
have other stuff.
you know, there may be one called the aspect of the sea and the aspect of the storm, but that's not like there's only one aspect of the sea and one aspect of the storm. They are not unique characters, so they can have, like you say, artifacts and command traits, which is cool.
Yeah, which when you know, have a little brief bit on the lore, is that these are just, they just kind of like appear when enough of magical energy is kind of built up. These eidolons just appear from kind of like nowhere. So it is quite weird that they can have artifacts in it, but as a gamer, you know, you're not going to complain. It makes them stronger.
No, it's almost like you know, like in the mortal realms, times are hard. You know, it must be hard to start your own business and all that sort of thing. But the person who came up with the idea of producing and selling double ganger cloaks, he's making a fortune. Jesus Christ, how do you reckon he has like his own franchise now, where he like does design a double ganger cloak? So you've got your Gucci ones, your Nike ones.
He's retired, mate. He's retired in a mansion somewhere.
He is living high in Azir, isn't he? He is loving life. The realms of shadow is long behind him. That's his upbringing, but he's made it. Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah.
It's just makes me so hard.
Because I think, like going on to the Eidolons, I think I've seen people run the double ganger cloak on the Eidolon of the Storm. So you got the Eidolon Mathlan of the Sea, who has a bit more range to her. It's still good in combat, but obviously does the magic and ups your bravery. And then you got the aspect of the Storm, who is just running in and doing damage.
Yeah, I mean, like if I'm honest, because I've on the computer just looked at both of them side by side, and the sea one looks alright. It looks like he hasn't had the best day, but the Storm one looks like he's pissed. He looks angry. He looks like he needs management. And I can't even see his eyes.
He just charges forward. It does give a nice boost to the army still, because these are kind of like seen as resurrection of the old gods. So the Deepkin do fight stronger, so hence why you get the +3 bravery for the aspect of the sea. And the aspect of the Storm helps with your damage output. Reroll 1s to wound for units within 9 inches of him.
Is this all this within? Is it holy?
It is not holding, it's just within.
Okay, that makes a big difference.
Oh yeah, it makes a great difference for him.
I like you saying about wounds. It's frustrating when you get loads of hits and you fluff your wound roll, don't you? So to get the rerolls is great.
Yeah, and it adds to, if you're not picking, you know, the enclave that we touched on earlier, of rerolling wounds against monsters. This one like helps you reroll wounds anywhere, and it's not an absolute destroyer in combat, but he is going to kill stuff. I'd say he's definitely a consistent damager, but it's just not proper high damage.
No, it's like as soon as like you say something negative about like a model, but it's like, but he looks cool though. He looks cool. No, but he's not as good as he looks. Like, I'll be happy to fight this guy with my Terrorgeist.
Yeah, the thing what I'd say he's got going for him in that kind of aspect is, if you're lucky with the kind of like double turn, because he has an ability where he gets to reroll hit rolls of 1 and add 1 damage to his spear if he charged. In addition, he can charge in the same turn in which he made a retreat, and every time he does charge, he heals D3. So
Cool.
he's got good survivability there, and if obviously you can get that double turn, you can charge him in. He's now rerolling ones to hit, which he's hitting on threes. He's twos to wound, 2 damage, -2 range, 3 damage, and then you can retreat, and then that's charging again. He can do damage, you know. He can do a lot, and the fact that he's healing, I think, is a fun thing. You know, he's just charging round, healing every time he charges.
Which is it's also quite unexpected. Like, not many things, if anything, has like healing abilities when they charge.
No, it's quite a unique ability.
Like, it's quite like, I don't know, let's just say he charged a straggling unit of, like 5 models or something, and he kills somebody. He goes, I've also healed, D3 wounds as well, which is great. It's quite cool and surprising. But no, so that's the Eidolon. So what were our thoughts? They can be worth taking, is what we're thinking. They have got their uses.
They've definitely got their uses, and they just got a points decrease, because I think GW want to see them more on the table and obviously sell a lot more.
Hopefully, it'd be great if they drop the price of the models as well. I think that would really help sell. But
I definitely
do you have
say,
1 or 2 of these?
at the moment I only have 1.
Cool.
I need to get another 1 to build a second option, so I can have some more fun with the other option.
I love that.
Or run on both and just have a laugh.
Exactly, and I love that. It's like a true hobbyer Warhammer player, when it's like it's not like, oh, it'd be nice to have another one day. It's like, no, I need another one, so then I can build it as the sea. No, sorry, build it as the storm, and then I can run. So it's a need, not a want, which I understand where you come from.
I mean, they're 2 different models, aren't they?
They're 2.
You know, I suppose I can quotate proxy,
No,
because they're not so much different looking, but they are different looking.
you can't. Well, it's
And
like
you can't play one as the other.
no, it's like the 3 main Mortarks and Nagash, Neferasa, Arcan, and Manfred. And people are like, oh, it's only the heads, the mounts that are a bit different, and in the person who's riding it, you can just magnetise. And like, no, I will spend £50 on each one of those, because you need them, don't you? You need
them for your display.
Yeah, exactly. You need a collector, and it's almost like, even if I don't know, like with these guys, you magnetize them. So I don't know, like you change the head and the weapons. Let's say you did that for the Eidolon, but I'd be there and be like, some of the sea creatures are different than on that one than it's meant to be on the other. Just like little things where it's like, like the other one's meant to be painted more viciously.
I mean, yeah, I could have easily probably gone the magnetised route, but I knew it all right from the beginning. I wanted both of them. I wasn't going to do that. It's just a matter of waiting for this time where I can get my second one.
Yeah, I mean, there's no massive rush at the moment. Just can't. It's every time, like, you think about, oh, it would be nice to buy something, I just look behind me and I just look at the pile of shame, or I shall say one of the piles of shames, and it's like, I'm trying to get through them all. But anyway, so that's the Eidolons. Now, the Keeling King and the Volturus High King of the Deep, like I say, the other dual kit, or our thoughts. Let's just start with the Achillean King for now.
The Achillean King, I would say, is your cheaper Volturus. He's the one that you want if you're trying to save a little bit more points. And obviously, if you want those artifacts. Obviously, with having a main character in Volturus, you lose out on the artifacts and command traits. And the Achillean King is a solid hero for the Deepkin army. Definitely one. Obviously, I've run a lot. The Achillean King. I ran him at the tournament. He's your ill guy. if you want an eel list, he makes them battle line.
Yeah.
He's got good survivability. He's got good damage output, brilliant movement. Definite, like, all-round kind of hero, I'd say. He can easily pick off like your opponent's smaller heroes.
Yeah.
Or tag in with some Morse guard, or or some thralls to take down a monster. He definitely has a lot of usage in the game.
No, he is good, and he really does. I think one of the key main things about him and why you do take him is he just unlocks the eels. That's battle line.
Yeah, I'm saying you need this guy to be your general, to have Morse guard as battle line, because in the army only the thralls are actually your battle line.
Yep. And you also, just to say, you need this guy or Volturus for their command ability. Like they get in the extra attacks. It's a massive thing with the Deepkin, isn't it? For that turn 3 charge.
Yeah, because the other thing about that is you can only use it on turn 3. So I suppose if you really want to use it, you'd be quite reserved with your King and Volturus. But I do bring good buffs as well to your armies, so they're not just there to unlock your eels as battle line. They can also, obviously, like you say, give you an extra attacks, good command ability. You get to reroll 1s to hit if you hold within 12 inches of them for Achilleans. They've got good survivability, so they will, unless obviously you're charging them into saying that can, or letting them get charged by saying they can kill them, they will be there for your turn 3. Is obviously what you're trying to get to as well.
Yeah, definitely. And what are our thoughts about Volturus then?
Since been playing a lot more, I think this is maybe, unless you really want certain artifacts for your king, I'd say this is one of those rare instances where the named character outshines its non-named counterpart.
Yeah, very rare.
Because like you've had games when you've used your what's his name, Prince of Hordray.
A couple of times.
And is he as good as Zombie Lord?
No,
Like,
and most of the things it's because it's the same with, like I said, I haven't played Gordrak or the Mega Boss on Maw Crusher, but it's like most things, it's like the name character tends to be more expensive in points, and you can't take an artifact and command trait, and it's the artifact and command trait that makes that model really good in the first place. But no, it's a happy surprise, isn't it? It's a happy change of events.
Like they say that the points increase. These two models are, as far as I can remember, it's a 40 points difference.
Yeah, it's not much at all.
And with Volturus, you're getting an extra wound. He has a more survivability to him as well, because his shield helps him ignore spells. So he's very good at ignoring anyone trying to snipe him out with magic. A 3-up to ignore spells is, I think that's close to what Archaon can do.
Archaon's one won't be any better than that.
Which
Archaon's is a 4 or a 3, like it's not.
Someone he's difficult to kill with magic.
Because I've attacked you with Nagash, haven't I, against him, and it's like Hands of Dust. Well, on a 3, I'm not even going to bother then. Fine, I'll do something else. But you've already casted it. I know. I'll pick the thrall next to him. The bastard. He'll take it. But no, he's and he's also got -5 rend, the highest rend in all of Age of Sigmar.
Yeah. So when I remember reading this for the first time,
You
and
go,
I was
fucking
thinking,
another misprint for fuck's sake.
I was like, what? -5 rend? Do you ever need -5 rend? But well,
It says -5 rend when you're reading it, and it goes like, if targeted an orc unit, and orc is spelt with a K, and you think, they've put a 40k thing in here by mistake. -5 rend is like, basically, don't make a save unless you're like the Mortarch for the Bone Reapers, like Catacross, who can have like a 1-up save or something.
yeah, he'll get a nice 6-up.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like
Yeah.
that is. What is it? You need a 6 to wound or something with a sword. Is that what it was?
Yeah, he has 5 attacks with his sword. Each 6 to hit is then done at -5 rend.
-5 rend. Cool. That.
And you think that's just.
Do you remember remember when I used to run the Necrosphinx? It had -3 rend, didn't it? And it just felt like that was like as high as anything goes. But -5.
-5 is crazy. When this was at the time as well, when Archaon, Archaon's got -2 now, but you're still thinking, I know I need a 6 to hit, but it does absolutely just better than the Slayer of Kings. It surely can't be.
Yeah, I just sort of like, I can see the sword now. You're sort of glaring at it again, like, I mean, it looks sharp, but it doesn't. There are swords in this game that have people's melted faces on them as their souls are trapped within the blade itself.
And then
this is like
-5.
the Tamil was writing, and it's got a jagged edge. And it's been in the sea for a long time. I'm sure it should be rusty, but no. So it is 2.5 times as powerful as a Banshee's dagger, which is insane. No, that's that is really good. And to be fair, the thing that makes it even better is you roll it so rarely. When it does happen, it's really good.
Most times when you do roll it, it's kind of like against someone that probably only has like a 6-up save anyway. So the normal -1 is good enough.
It's like I'll just say to you, have you got a rend, mate? And just before you can go, yes, it's -5. Just go, yeah, it doesn't matter as long as it's rend. I'm dead anyway. So could be anything. Could be -1 for all I care. And then you're like, it normally is -1, you bastard. Right, so like we say, in your opinion, like for you anyway, you're taking this guy more than the Achillean King these days.
Yeah, I do. It's like we said, it's a strange thing because normally the main characters are taking less, but I definitely would take Volturus over a normal Achillean King because his command ability is like souped up. Like I say, he's got probably better survivability. He does lose out, obviously, no artifact and no command trait. But if you can get around that, he's definitely going to help out your army a lot.
Yeah, and do you need this guy to be your general to unlock the eels? You do, don't you?
Yeah, so for Taurus and the Achillean King, if you want eels as your battle line, you take one of those two as your general.
So you missed out on the command trait, but you still get your artifacts and stuff. Cool, and then that brings us down to smaller things, and the last 3 things we've got is the Lotan, the Soulrender, and the Tidecaster.
Now, I would start with Tidecaster.
Is your wizard?
It is your wizard for the army. Standard wizard kind of look. And it doesn't have the -1 rend, but has 2 attacks. And the inbuilt spell, pick a unit, and it's -1 to hit. Casting from very 7. And they also have a defeat mortal wounds at the start of their next hero phase. Mm-hmm. It's a decent inbuilt spell, definitely. But I think the main what people maybe use the Tidecasters for is what we were saying at the beginning. Partnering it up with the Fuvian war clan. Because the Tidecasters, if they're your general, you unlock Reavers as battle line. But that's not the main reason people make them your general. Is that you can reverse the tides of your allegiance ability. So turn 3 then goes down to turn 2. And turn 3 still stays the same. But if you combine it with the Thuvian, you're kind of changing the flow. So then you're fighting first on turn 2, which makes a very strong alpha striking army.
Mm-hmm.
But then you don't have ills as battle line, so you gotta spend 3 lots of points on getting your battle line in. Whether it be thralls, which obviously not terrible, they can put out a lot more damage, and you got your other option of reavers, and that seems to be the list that you would see quite a lot. Because alpha striking is very strong, but obviously if it doesn't go well, then the rest of the game is not going to go well.
No, it's sort of a high risk, big reward, isn't it? Factor.
Yeah.
With that sort of play. But like, and if it doesn't go well, at least it's a quick game rather than like fucking like realising halfway through it's not going to go well and there's nothing you can do to fix the situation. You think, wasted an hour now. That's just deployment. But no, so your standard wizard for the army.
Yeah, and so she gets access to law, your law spells, and some other stuff that the Deepkin have to offer as well, like specific artifacts just for wizards and that. Let's say, rituals that the Tidecaster, Lotan, and the Soul Squire, I believe, can attempt as well. Because they all count as priests.
And the rituals are essentially hard to get off, but good buffs, aren't they? Something you can't rely on.
Yeah, you definitely wouldn't rely on them. You can make it easier. And also, they're very situational. Like off the top of my head, the main one that would be really effective against certain armies is that you take away their ability to fly, which is just insane.
Yeah, because it's as a flair player, especially caught something like that. As soon as you take away my ability to fly, it's sort of like, for me anyway, I'd be sort of there for a minute going like, find it hard to compute. But I can always fly.
Yeah, when you're used to flying over everything, taking away that ability is massive.
Yeah, it's... And especially then, like we're saying about your ships blocking things off and going, you can't fly anymore, so you're going to walk around that. Fuck's sake. So
they have its uses, but also if you're against someone like a Gloomspite Gitz army that have like no flying units in the list, or like ogres that don't have a single flying unit.
I think Gloomspites do fly.
If they got the Boy Hop bounders and that, they count as flying.
But,
I
know what you mean.
If you're against an army with like nothing, it's not useful.
Yeah, but there are. We won't go into them all, but there's more than just that one, isn't there? There's a couple.
Yeah, I think there's 3. 3 you can choose from. They're all very situational, depending on your army list, who you're up against. Like, I would say, like kind of like most spells, like spells are as well. You got some spells that just work all the way round, and those would just be the spells I'd go for. But then also you got spells that are very situational.
Exactly. So one of the most not biggest but cool little models in the army, I think, is the Lotan, the Warden of the Soul Ledgers, something like that.
Yeah, the Soul Ledgers. So he keeps track of the souls that the Deepkin collect, or his Enclave collect, and he helps out your Namati. So he helps out buff your infantry units. He's such a cool little model to have on the table.
The octopus has a little ink pot as well for the
the octopus with his 8 arms just have
And a club and a sword.
a club, a sword. He's holding the ink pot for him.
He's stretching out some of the paper for the scroll for him as well.
It's such a unique little model.
I wouldn't call it a pet, the octopus. I'd say they have a relationship. Like they understand each other.
Yeah, they understand each other, and the octopus is there to protect them. The octopus is where the damage will come from if Lotan, unfortunately, ever gets into combat.
Yep.
He's not a guy you want in combat.
No. Do you have a Lotan?
I do have a Lotan, and he was great fun to paint.
Oh, I bet, yeah. It's an awesome little model. So he helps with your rules and stuff. How does that transfer onto the table?
Now he actually gives them an extra bravery,
That's cool.
which is always nice. And he gives them rerolls ones to hit, which is a nice little buff as well. He has quite an annoying ward save. He only has a 6-up standard save, but each time he gets wounded or more wounded, he has an extra 5-up. So he's got a 6-up, 5-up. Although he's got a 6-up save, he's still got some decent survivability about him.
What's the ward say from the octopus?
Yeah, it's the octopus getting his tentacles in the way of all the incoming damage.
Oh, okay, because I was going to say, well, you have like a 6-up standard save, you wear a helmet and like shoulder pads and a chest piece, and then you just see like this bikini girl running and charging at you who's got like a better save. You just think, what is the point of me even wearing this hat?
It's quite a big hat.
Yeah, it's very big. But so he's cool, and then the next one,
the last guy is the old buddy Soul Render.
And again, he has got a very nice weapon. Like that has a cool axe, glaive axe thing.
He's what they call a talon hook.
And he's got a swordfish. I don't know if that translates into anything, but he's got a swordfish. And he's not afraid to use it.
Yeah, his little buddy Swordfish gets into the fight as well.
That's cool.
So this guy, he collects the souls. He is the one who goes across the battlefield with the Namati and with going over the dead or those that have been captured, and takes the souls for the Deepkin, and he'll return them back to the Enclave.
He's the one we were talking about earlier when we said you could bring some of your thralls back and felt a little bit like a death army. This is the guy who's doing it.
Yeah. As the fact of his ability is that he gets to have a unit of Namati and bring back D3 models, in which there is what I've played before. There is an Enclave and a battalion that can boost that, and I was spamming that like crazy. And I was just bringing back more models that were dying.
Yeah, because like I say, the thralls, like they might, like at first, they might appear to be weak. You know, like 5-up save. They haven't got any eyes, but they are elite infantry. You know, and bringing them back is good. But
yeah, damage-wise, you'd say they're definitely elite infantry for damage. Survivability, not that great, but this guy can bring stuff back, so he definitely helps with keeping your Namati unit alive and kicking.
Yeah, it sort of feels like in this army, most of the heroes do have especially little ones, they do have a purpose while they're in your army. This guy's bringing things back. You've got things like your little wizard, the one who teleports things in. Because there are some heroes in some armies, probably more older armies, where it's like, why'd you take him? And it's just like, what does he do? He's just there. He has 3 attacks that do D3 damage, and he moves 4 inches. He's just there. Like he will.
Definitely, yeah. Every hero in this army has a place. He has a purpose.
Definitely.
And it all comes down to what units you want to be running and what your kind of gameplay tactics and what kind of tactics you like to play comes down to.
And like sort of like I say, like we tend to talk about the strengths, weaknesses. We've sort of done that as we're going along. But something I'd say about the army is it's on the tabletop, and when you're building lists, it is an elite army. It feels a little bit like Bone Reapers. You don't really have a cheap unit in your army, and that's not saying like it's all overcosted. It's just you're not going to be spamming hordes of this army. Like that's not how it plays.
No, it's very not a proper horde army. You can get quite high numbers if you're building, an infantry kind of list. But you're never going to reach the kind of numbers of like Gloom Spines getting put out, or even like Death Rattle kind of themed kind of army.
But
but then you hit harder most of the time.
Exactly, and if you want to have an army where you just paint over 100 elves, just do Daughters of Cain. If you want to paint, well, like if you do like I don't know 120 witch elves, what's that like 240 eyes? Could you imagine doing that? Can you imagine buying that all and go, yes, I'm going to paint every inch of that? It'd be insane. But so yeah, so we talked about strengths and weaknesses throughout, and what most units are good for. So for people who are still listening to this, and they presumably they're still listening, they want to actually start the army. So would you say the Start Collecting box is a good place to go? So what we're going to get in that, we're going to get some Namati Thralls, we're going to get 3 Eels, and we're going to get the Soul Render.
I'll definitely say that as a definite decent starting point. You get to have a heavy hitting unit, and you get your thralls that are also like heavy hitting, but also are your battle line. So you got your Soul Redder that can bring them back, and you got the Eels that can do other stuff.
And just going to say something, just in case people get confused, because when they first were announced, these elves, I kind of thought they would be the same kit. The Namati Thralls and the Namati Reavers, they don't come in the same box.
No, they are different kits.
And but no, it's a nice little starter. I don't think this was really here when you started, was it? You had to go for the Battle Force, didn't you? I think.
Yeah, the Battle Force is where I got my collection, most of my collection from. And I'd say if anyone can find one of them, they're a brilliant thing. They're a brilliant starter.
Did you get 2?
I had 3 of them.
Yeah, 3 of them. Yeah, had to be done, didn't it? I think.
It was too good a deal. But yeah, I'd say that would be the reason I got that is that was a real good army base core, because you ended up, I think it was 10 Reavers, 10 Thralls, maybe 2 units of Eels, or 1 unit of Eels and 2 Sharks.
Yeah.
And a Tidecaster. That was I'd say a much better starting point.
The best thing about not all the time with Battle Forces, particularly with the good ones, because they can sell quite quickly. It's one of those where you don't have time to process if it's a good decision or not. It's like, I'll buy 3 and I can always return them. So you never return them. But no, it is cool, and that's I think that's pretty much it. I mean, like we sort of said we'd do like a 30 to 45 minute video, so I think we've kept well within that time. So I'm quite pleased. I definitely don't feel like we've been here for 2 hours. But is there anything else you want to say about the Deepkin, Jamie?
So just go out and start it and have some fishy fun.
Exactly.
So
not too much fun.
If you like going to the aquarium, you can build. You can build a cool looking army with this.
Exactly. If you're fascinated by Jaws, you've got options. And if you like Aquaman, did this come out before the film was released? Aquaman,
I think it was just before. I think it was,
because they are very cool. Like if you want inspiration, and for some reason you haven't seen that film, I only saw that film a few months ago. Great film. But no, so that's pretty much it. So I want to thank you very much for joining us, Jamie. This is actually
Yeah, thank you for having me.
you're very welcome. And this is actually on the Saturday, the 18th of April, which I know like Warhammer have been doing a preview, so I've been getting a Discord messages, keep them flashing up every 2 seconds. Try not to glance to see what the previews are because me and you haven't watched them. But thank you very much for staying throughout this. And I think have you seen any of the previews? Did you watch them? Did you look any of the stuff?
I have not seen anything, so
It'd be a nice little treat. Rather than the online previews have been great, but it's like you see something and then you wait 15 minutes to see the next thing. So we're just gonna binge it.
we get to enjoy it all in one go.
Exactly. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for joining us. I hope you did enjoy this video. I hope it was useful. I hope you got a bit more insight into the army. And if you did enjoy it, please like, subscribe, and comment down below, as that massively does help the channel, as it's free to do so. Massive shout out to the patrons who really do help me be able to make and produce as many videos as possible for you guys. Massive shout out to them. And that is it, guys. So until next time, remember, stay safe, wash your hands, and Nagash is all, and all is one in Nagash.